This video will contain minimal spoilers for the shows and movies that we're covering. I try to keep the spoilers out as best as I can. I will, however, also show trailer footage, so if you're worried about that, feel free to just put the video on in the background and listen. There are also timestamps in the description in case you don't want to watch all of this video. Thank you and enjoy. It's rare that I outright regret a promise I've made about a video, but this is definitely one of those moments. I thought making this would be an easy task, but lo and behold, imagine the look on my face when I saw the sheer amount of stuff I had to cover in one singular video. Welp, today we are covering over 50 different shows and movies. If you watch all of this video, you're a real one, but you probably need to get yourself checked in the doctor's office. So I will see you there. For the rest of you, please use the timestamps and you might make it out sane. Unlike with the video where I covered video games, this time we're going in an alphabetic order to keep things a bit more spicy. I will also rank every show and movie on the list from 0 to 5 stars. These stars only show how much I like the show or movie related to the other entries on this list. So if I give something 0 stars, that only means it's one of the worst shows or movies I've seen this year, and not one of the worst of all time. Same goes with 5 stars, it means it's one of the best shows or movies I've seen this year, not of all time. I think you get what I mean. So take a very comfortable position, grab those snacks or whatever you're going to consume for the next hour, and above all, enjoy. Arcane Season 2. So, we're starting off with an absolute banger. I loved Season 1 of Arcane, I loved Season 2 of Arcane. I just love Arcane. I think the animation in Arcane is like top tier quality, and everything just looks so beautiful. Like you have to give credit to the animators, and wow, it's such a beautiful show. I just needed to get that out first. In Season 2, the story is good. However, I think it's a little too messy, more so than in Season 1. I think Season 1 had a really nice story, but Season 2, it's a bit too messy. There's a bit too much going on, I think. And the ending, I feel it could have been better, but everything else I really enjoyed about Season 2 as well. I think Arcane could have benefited from splitting the events that we saw in Season 2 into 2 different seasons, making 3 seasons in total. I think that would have been a much better decision than cramming everything into 2 seasons. Especially with Season 2, I think there was so much going on that not everything was covered enough. And there were some things that were left kind of confusing, so yeah, that's why I'd hoped that there would be 3 seasons in total, but it is what it is. But in conclusion, Arcane Season 2 is still really good. It is one of the best shows of this year, easily, and I am excited for future League of Legends projects despite not playing the game. Arcane Season 2 is getting 4.5 stars from me. Bakemonogatari. This show was definitely an experience. It's a very praised show. People really like it, and the fandom I know is very passionate. And you know, I'm begging you guys, don't kill me for what I'm about to say, okay? Watching Bakemonogatari felt like walking into the cool kids table and realizing that you're not cool enough. Because I feel like this is one of those shows that's so praised in the community, and I was like, okay, I've seen enough anime, I can watch this, I can understand this show, and you know, yeah, it's gonna be a really good time. I'm one of the cool kids now. Then I watch it, I'm like, I actually didn't like it. And yeah, bear with me, I'm so sorry. I know I'm probably gonna get executed for this, but I think the style of the show is too weird for me. I don't really like it, and the stories, I didn't really understand what was going on like half the time, and I guess that's part of the experience probably. I'm gonna have to be very careful about what I say, but yeah, I think I'm gonna be just honest. The show is not for me. Maybe I will give the sequels a shot at some point. I know there's a crap ton of those. But for now, I'm giving this show 1 star, and I probably just got a Hitman sent after me, so I apologize. Band of Brothers. Oh, this is a really good show. I love history so much. History is so close to my heart. I love studying history, I love learning about history. So I also really like to see shows and movies that are history based, and Band of Brothers is one of the best ones I've seen. Easily one of the best ones. This show is very faithful to the actual events that happened in World War II. It's the character writing is excellent, cinematography excellent. The best thing about the show, I think, is that there were actual veterans that were a part of making the show, and the stories that we see are like actually things that happened. Of course, it's portrayed by actual actors, but like it's still like these events happened in real life. And yeah, I just think that Band of Brothers is generally just really fucking good, and I think it's definitely worth a watch, especially if you like history. This is our first 5 stars of the day. Black Lagoon. This show was just really fun. Like, this is just pure fun, I feel. And, you know, I just enjoyed it. And I really like the character cast. The characters, I think, all are just fun to watch. And the show is not like the deepest thing in the world. It does have some stuff to say, but I just felt like it was more, you know, just having fun, I feel like. And this really feels like a Western action movie from the 80s or the 90s. It's just fun. And I don't think it does anything super special, but it doesn't do anything wrong either. This show is getting 3 stars from me. Bloodhounds. I personally am a fan of Korean shows after watching Squid Game, like I think many of you are as well. And but this year I haven't watched that many Korean shows, except a few, and this was one of them. And I think it's a fun show, but it's not one of the best Korean shows I've seen. But it does have some cool things going for it, especially the 2 main characters I think are amazing. They're really fun to watch, the chemistry is really good between those. And I wish the story maybe did a bit more with ideas, but you know, I'm still happy for what we got. And I'd say it's worth watching, so this is getting 3 stars again from me. Blue Eye Samurai. This show was pretty praised again, and don't get me wrong, the animation is fucking great. This show looks beautiful, and the story writing is pretty good as well, I think. But I feel like it's tiny bit overrated. Like, I enjoyed it, but it's not a masterpiece like some people say it is. This is just my take, obviously, but it's definitely still something that I really enjoyed, and I think many people would enjoy it too. So yeah, give it a shot if you want to. There's some really cool stuff in there. This is also getting 3 stars from me. Borat. Okay, this movie is excellent in its comedy. Like, it is really, really fun, and it's rare that I'll laugh this much when watching a movie, like, really. This movie was filmed with real people. Well, some of them were real people. They were like told that this is an actual like journalist from Kazakhstan and not an actor. So you get a lot of moments where you see that. It's kind of like a hidden camera thing for the half of it. It's really clever, and yeah, I think sadly it probably isn't possible to make films like this nowadays. Maybe, I don't know. The lead star, Sacha Baron Cohen, I hope I said that right, is fucking fantastic at what he does. He's a great actor, like, really. Borat is a really funny movie that I would wholeheartedly recommend to most people. Of course, there are gonna be people that don't like it, but I really enjoyed it, so this is getting 3.5 stars. Code Geass. This show has very good writing, like really good writing, and it's very clever, and at times it's a bit confusing, because it tries to be very clever, and it succeeds in that, but I am not very clever, so that's why some things are a bit confusing, but that didn't really affect my enjoyment. Code Geass is a mecha show, and mecha shows, they usually are not my thing, but this show, it just works. However, I do think that it went on for maybe a bit too long. This is 50 episodes in total. I think that's a bit too much. There were some moments where it dragged, but eventually where it concludes, the ending is fucking fantastic. Like really, this ending is praised for a reason. And yeah, I just really like Code Geass. It's one of my favorite anime now. This is getting 4 stars. Cowboy Bebop. Of course, this was the anime show that we're talking about, not the live action. This show is a classic. I feel like there's a lot of people that have nostalgia towards Cowboy Bebop. And yeah, I can understand why. I think the show, at least in terms of its animation, is definitely ahead of its time. This is released in the late 90s and it looks really good. I think the characters in the show were really fun, at least the main cast. But there is one big issue I have with this show, and this is a purely subjective issue. I don't like episodic shows. So basically, there is basically a new story every single episode, and I don't know, I prefer to follow a story that is a bit longer than a single episode, so, you know, it is what it is. I also didn't really like the ending. I felt like it was too abrupt, and it could have been more fleshed out, but I guess the episodic nature of the show kind of affected that. And also I think the main villain was really disappointing. Like, I didn't really understand what was going on with him, because he appears in like 4 episodes or something like that. It's weird, but yeah, I still like the show, so I'm gonna give it 2.5 stars. Oops, I cannot play that intro for copyright reasons, but I would love to, because the intro is so fucking good in the show. But yeah, Dandadan. This show gives me heavy Chainsaw Man vibes. Not in terms of its story, but the overall feeling is very similar to Chainsaw Man. And it is really funny. Like, I was laughing when watching the show, but there may be some people that might not like it. It may be a bit too much, and I can completely see why. The show is batshit crazy, and I think it's still probably the best anime series to release this year. Emphasis on series, and yeah, I just had fun with Dandadan, and I think most people will do as well. Especially if you like Chainsaw Man, you will like Dandadan probably. This show, 3.5 stars. Deadpool and Wolverine. I feel like Marvel fatigue is real. I am not caught up with the MCU, and I don't know if I will again, because there really is a lot of stuff, and most of them I just don't really care about. However, Deadpool has been consistently good, and that is no different in Deadpool and Wolverine. I had a lot of fun watching this movie. It is a very fun one. I think Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman, they're both amazing, and they definitely had fun making this movie. You can just feel it, and they do an excellent job. Plot isn't special, but I don't think it has to be. I wasn't really watching it for the plot necessarily, but the humor lands, and I just really had a fun time watching it, so this is definitely getting 3 stars. Demon Slayer. Okay, once again, prepare for what I'm about to say. I know Demon Slayer fans, once again, they are very passionate about their show. I'm gonna say it out loud. This show is very fucking overrated. But let's get the positives out of the way first. The animation and the visuals, fucking amazing. Fucking beautiful to look at. This show is art to look at. It is really beautiful. There is no denying that. Animation, top tier. Fight scenes, top tier. There is no denying that, okay? However, this show has no story. Okay, it actually does. That was a joke. It actually does have story. It just, there's very little of plot progression. and the plot progression is super generic. Actually, I think the best episode of the show is its very first episode, because that's when I felt like there was actually something going on with the story. But after that, it just turns into going from place A to place B to fight the next villain of the week, and I just wanted more. There is, I don't know, there's barely any character development as well. Like, I feel like watching Demon Slayer is the same experience as watching top 10 anime fights on YouTube. I don't remember much of the show except the fight scenes. And I don't think the animation and visuals are the most important thing in what comes to a TV show. I prefer story. You can't fix bad story with good visuals, but you can fix bad visuals with good story. That's what I think. So yeah, I'm sorry if I upset you, but Demon Slayer is getting 1 star from me. Echo. This is a good example of a bad Marvel show. Yeah, I don't really remember anything that happened in it. I made a video about this earlier in the year. If you want to check it out, go for it. I've forgotten everything that happened. But I do remember one thing, and it was baiting the audiences with cameos in the trailers, and just, man, it's frustrating. The show shouldn't have been made. Nobody asked for the show. Yeah, this is our first 0 stars. Erased. This show had some really good ideas, I think. Murder, mystery and time travel combined is a very interesting premise, and some of it works. I also want to mention that I appreciate short and complete stories. This is only 12 episodes, that's it. No sequels, nothing. It's just one thing, and that's it. And I appreciate that. However, in this show, some things are just made way too obvious, and it makes me feel like the show thinks I'm an idiot when I watch it, because the big twist that happened at some point in the show, I guessed it so much earlier. And I was like thinking that, okay, maybe the show is just baiting me to think that this is the case, but it actually is something else. But no, it wasn't. I think the ending, it was kind of meh as well, I don't know. I just wish this show stuck the landing. I feel like the issues are more so towards the end of it, but I just think there were good ideas, execution could have been better, but I still had fun, so 2.5 stars. Evil Dead Rise. This is one of the most boring and generic horror movies I've ever seen, I think. I watched this with my friends, and I wish I didn't, because there is nothing, really. This movie tries nothing new, I feel like. I didn't really enjoy it. It wasn't scary, it wasn't anything enjoyable, it was just a very bland horror movie, so this is getting 0 stars. Fallout. I had no expectations going into Fallout, but it's surprisingly good. Wow, they actually made a good fucking adaptation of Fallout. Wow, that's crazy. Maybe video game adaptations are actually not dead in the modern times. Okay, this is not the first example of a good video game adaptation, but you know, they are a very 50-50 with their quality most of the time, so they are either absolute masterpieces or then they're shit. Fallout is somewhere in between. It's not shit, but it's not a masterpiece either. I think Fallout looks really good visually, story is fun, characters are fun. Yeah, it's just a good adaptation. I'm giving it 3 stars. Fight Club. So, I remember putting this movie on in the middle of the night, when my neighbors were being super noisy, I couldn't sleep, so I needed to have something to do, and I just went on Netflix and I was like, Fight Club. Okay, this probably is just a generic fight movie. It wasn't. This is one of the best movies I've ever seen in my life. What the actual fuck? This movie surprised me so much. Like, really, it subverts your expectations, and has plot twist after another. The main plot twist here is I'm not gonna say much, but goddamn. Goddamn. The story is amazing, writing is amazing, characters are amazing. It's just overall a really fucking good movie. And I want you to watch this movie. I wholeheartedly recommend. This is one of the best movies I've ever seen. This is 5 stars. There we go. Ghost in the Shell. So, about Ghost in the Shell, this is the original movie. I haven't seen anything else. I know there's sequels, I know there's like a show based on it, but this is just the original movie from 1995, okay? I think this movie has some really interesting themes. And it's a retro movie, of course, from the 90s, but it looks really good visually. I didn't really have any issues with the visuals, but what I did have an issue with was the length. I feel like this movie should have been longer to explore all the crucial themes properly. But there are some cool ideas, interesting themes, very, very deep things, yeah. And I do want to eventually watch the sequels and the show as well, so... But yeah, the main movie, first movie, getting 2.5 stars, yeah. Hell's Paradise. I had high expectations going into this because this is made by MAPPA, and I feel like with MAPPA I've usually had very positive experiences with. However, Hell's Paradise is so forgettable. Like, I don't remember anything that happens in it. I feel like it maybe didn't get to kick off properly due to its short runtime. But yeah, I wasn't really interested in any of the characters, and yeah, I don't know. There were some cool ideas, but they didn't really get to explore those a whole lot, so yeah, it was kind of a disappointment. Maybe season 2 is better, we'll see about that. For now, it's 1 star from me. High-Rise Invasion. This is... oh boy. This is one of those random Netflix anime that I've seen. I open Netflix, I search for the anime filter. This is one of the first ones I see, so I'm like, okay, whatever, let's watch it, maybe it's good. This was a terrible decision. I think this is the worst anime I've ever seen in my life. This show sucks so much ass, holy shit. Nothing about it makes sense, it's a big fucking mess. Character writing is terrible. Don't fucking watch this trash. Do not touch it. 0 stars. Invincible Season 2. With Invincible, I really liked Season 1, and I really liked Season 2 as well. Season 2, I feel like, is an improvement in almost every way. But there's one thing that I was missing, and that was the overarching mystery of Season 1. Of course, there wasn't a mystery like this present in Season 2. I was kinda missing that, but I feel like everything else was better than in Season 1. Everything else was more interesting, and there was just more going on. However, the mid-season break was the dumbest shit ever. Like, really. I don't think that's a hot take. But 4 months between 2 sets of 4 episodes. Perfect. Wonderful. But yeah, other than that, it's a really enjoyable show. Season 2 is really good. I also made a video about this if you want to go check it out. And I'm excited for Season 3. So this is getting 3 stars. Joker Folie, Deux. I hope I said that right. The first Joker is an amazing movie. I think most people know that. I really enjoyed that movie. A sequel was never wanted or needed. And why was this movie made? Genuinely, why was this made? Okay, I know it's money. I know the reason is money, but still. The sequel adds nothing to the story. It's just a big fucking mess. I do want to mention that visually it is extremely good. The cinematography and the acting and everything, it looks really good. Like, it's a beautiful looking movie, but the story is not so beautiful. And the ending sucks as well, so this is getting 1 star. Jujutsu Kaisen. Yeah, I think Jujutsu Kaisen is also overrated. And it's often compared to Demon Slayer. But I do think Jujutsu Kaisen is actually way better than Demon Slayer. The story is kinda mid, I'll be real. But at least there is a story. And the story kinda gets interesting at the end of Season 2, so, you know, there's that. There is one thing I feel like separates Jujutsu Kaisen from Demon Slayer, and that is the Shibuya arc of JJK. For those that don't know, without spoilers of course, the Shibuya arc is something that shatters your expectations completely and just makes you feel like you can't guess anything anymore. Because the first season of this show is very predictable, I think. I can always kinda guess who will come out victorious in a fight. And that's also a thing with Demon Slayer, you can always guess the outcome, pretty much. And you feel like nobody is really in danger. But here in the Shibuya arc of Jujutsu Kaisen, I feel like that finally that predictability is taken away completely, and that's when I really started enjoying the show, because I was like, holy shit, I can't guess anything anymore. Like, wow, yeah, it subverts expectations, doesn't play by the book, you know, that's why I like Jujutsu Kaisen a lot more than Demon Slayer, because Demon Slayer doesn't have that, at least for now. I also watched Jujutsu Kaisen 0, the movie. I had fun time with it. It's about the same as the show, same content kinda, I don't know. I'm giving 3 stars for the show and 2.5 for the movie. Kaiju number 8. This show kind of feels like Attack on Titan, almost, if it was set in the future. Yeah, I think that's the best way I can describe it. It's not nowhere near as good as AOT, don't get me wrong, but there are some similarities. You can kinda see where the influence has come from. I think Kaiju has some cool ideas, but as of now, at least, it doesn't really get to do anything mind-blowing. There's only one season, 12 episodes, so, you know, it's just the beginning. Of course, there's way more room for improvement later down the line. I don't think the show does anything wrong again, but, you know, it's still fairly enjoyable. I don't really have much to say. It's fine. I'm excited to see where it goes next, because I think the ideas can evolve into something special, hopefully. But for now, I'm giving Kaiju number 8 2.5 stars. Kakegurui, oh no. I just want to mention right off the bat, I haven't seen season 2. I'm not gonna say season 2, I don't care. So we're just gonna talk about season 1. This is one of the worst anime I've ever seen. I think this show has terrible writing all across the board. It's just trash. The world building is some of the dumbest shit I've ever seen in my life. Like really, there was no reason for a world like this to be made in the show, I don't think. It's fucking stupid. And I think the only somewhat good thing in here is that the gambling games are kinda interesting, maybe, possibly, at some point, yeah. But, you know, nothing is enough to save this train wreck, so we're giving it 0 stars. Look back. Oh boy. I don't really know what I expected going into this. I just knew that it was made by Tatsuki Fujimoto, who is the author of Chainsaw Man, and, you know, I like Chainsaw Man, so I'm like, okay, you know, I'm probably gonna like this one as well. It's gonna be something similar. It's not. It couldn't be more different, but I'm so glad it is different. Like, this movie is excellent. It is so good. It is sad, but it's super inspiring at the same time. And the art style is so fucking beautiful. Just look at this. It's eye candy. It's so great to look at it. It looks so good. I think this movie is a must-watch. I think you should go into it without any expectations, but like just watch it. It's nothing like Chainsaw Man. It doesn't have to be. It is wow, genuinely an amazing movie. 4.5 stars for sure. Mashle, Magic and Muscles. If you've ever wondered how it would be if Saitama from One Punch Man was in the Harry Potter world, this show is for you, because it answers that question, kind of. Not really, but it's pretty close to that. Jokes aside, this show really likes to reference Harry Potter. Like, a lot. And, you know, I was, with pretty much every episode, I was just doing the Leonardo DiCaprio meme, you know, pointing out references and things that happen in Harry Potter. It's it's kind of cool, honestly. But there's a lot of those references in this show, so yeah, get ready for that. It's a comedy show, so you know, a comedy show needs to be funny. I think this show is pretty funny. I laughed at it a few times. There are some fun jokes in there. There are some jokes that are repeated a bit too much, but you know, for some reason I still laugh at them most of the time. The only thing that really this show lacks like a lot is world building. There is not a whole lot of world building, sadly. I wish we could see more of the world and more of the school itself where this show mostly takes place in. That's really my number one complaint. Also, side characters don't get a whole lot to do. There are some good moments, but I wish they had some more things to do. Especially in season 2, most of them just do nothing, sadly. But either way, Mashle I think is a very fun watch, and you know, if you just want something chill and fun, this is a pretty good pick. I'm giving it 2.5 stars. Mob Psycho 100. I expected something like One Punch Man going into this because it's made by the same creator, and well, it's kinda like that, but it's also so much more, I think, because One Punch Man is like pure comedy, and don't get me wrong, it's good. One Punch Man is good, we're gonna talk about it later. But Mob Psycho is also very comedic, but it's also so much deeper. I think the story of Mob Psycho is so much better than in One Punch Man. I really liked it. The first season of Mob Psycho it's just alright. You know, I liked it, but I wasn't like stunned or anything. But then I watched the second and the third season, and holy fucking shit. It's really good. Like, what the fuck? But yeah, the writing in Mob Psycho is really good. It is such a great story. And I have to shout out the visuals as well. They are very weird, but they are amazing. Genuinely some of the best animation I have ever seen. It is so weird yet beautiful. It's crazy. This show is just crazy, and I really recommend this. This is genuinely a really good show. I'm giving Mob Psycho 100 4.5 stars. My Hero Academia. Right off the bat, I'm gonna say I haven't seen past season 4, so we're only gonna talk about the first 4 seasons. I think I have to separate them as well. Season 1 I didn't really like, and it doesn't get to do a whole lot. It's often with anime, the first season doesn't get to do much for some reason, especially when it's as short as this. This is like 12 episodes or something. Season 2 is much better. I think season 2 of My Hero Academia is its best season I've seen. Of course, I haven't seen them all, but from the ones I've seen, I think season 2 is definitely the best one. Season 3 is good until halfway through, then I don't remember what happened in the last half. And season 4 is kinda boring, but that may be due to the fatigue that I already had at this point, which is why I haven't watched past season 4 yet. I will do it, I wanna do it next year because the final season is apparently going to release next year, so I wanna catch up. I think My Hero Academia has some really good ideas. Genuinely, having kids with superpowers in a school, the idea is great. It's fucking excellent, but unfortunately, I don't think it nails the landing. I think the execution is kinda not that good. The show does do some good things, but I think most of it is kinda just boring, I'll be real. I think character cast is cool, but the story is just kinda meh. And I have to say the villains, at least for now in the first 4 seasons, the villains have been an absolute fucking joke. Like, actually, I don't think they've done anything. They haven't accomplished anything. Like, really, they just appear and then they get their ass handed over to them and then they're gone again. Like, it's just, I don't know, maybe, I hope that improves later down the line, but for now, I'm giving My Hero Academia 1.5 stars. Neon Genesis Evangelion. Where do I even start with this one? I think Evangelion starts out as just kinda generic mecha shit, but it gets so weird in the end. and I mean that in the best possible way. Evangelion is very deep and very, very confusing, and yeah, I don't really relate to the story personally, but I can see why some people do. Because from what I've heard from people, many of the biggest fans of Evangelion feel like they relate to the main character or one of the characters, and I can see that for sure. But I enjoyed it regardless. I want to mention the movies here as well. First of all, End of Evangelion is the best movie to come out of Evangelion, I think. It's genuinely really good. And if you watch Evangelion, I hope you at least watch End of Evangelion to cap it off. Then there are the Rebuild movies. I watched all of them. They're kind of meh, I'll be real. The first one is just a remake, kind of. There's a very few changes. The second one is probably the best one, I think. There are some cool ideas. Third one was extremely meh, and the fourth one was... it was okay, it was just too long. But yeah, as for the stars, there's gonna be... how I'm gonna do this, I don't know. The main show is getting 3.5 stars. End of Evangelion is getting 4 stars. And the rebuilds are collectively getting 2 stars. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with that. NieR Automata version 1.1a. I have always wanted to get into NieR, but the game just never clicked with me. I tried to play it, I didn't like the gameplay at all, and it wasn't just for me. But I was really happy to see that there was an anime adaptation of the game. So, you know what, I checked it out, and I can't really speak for how good of an adaptation this is once again, because I haven't played the game all the way through, so, you know, it may be a terrible adaptation, I don't know. But I had fun with the show, at least, and it's a little confusing at times, but I think that's just NieR. And I really liked some of the themes it covers, you know, it's about robots finding about humanity and what it means to be a human and all that stuff, and I think that's very interesting. I have to say about the visuals, the CGI is terrible. Like, when they use CGI, it looks so bad. But when they are not using CGI, it looks really fucking good. So, I don't know. Thankfully, they only use CGI really in the beginning, mainly. So, that kind of wears off. And then you just see the actually good visuals, so, you know. I'll leave it at that. I'm giving the show 2.5 stars. One Piece. How many times have I talked about One Piece on this channel? Of course it needed to be done. I think this may be the 3rd or the 4th time. But I have to. I watched it this year, so I'm gonna talk about it. So yeah, before we start talking about One Piece, I do want to sincerely apologize to Attack on Titan, because in the TV show tier list video I made, I said that One Piece was my #1 favorite anime. I retract that statement. I think Attack on Titan is still, for now, better. One Piece is still my 2nd favorite anime, and I fucking love it, and who knows, maybe it will overtake AOT again when One Piece ends, but for now, I want to emphasize that Attack on Titan is better. I am sorry. But now let's talk about One Piece. It's really long, you know that already, I'm not gonna dive into that. I marathoned this show from February to June, all the way through from episode 1 to whatever the last episode was in June. And this was a moment in my life where I had the time to do this, and it was perfect. I had so much fun doing it. Best decision I've made all year. But One Piece, incredible writing, incredible world building. There is nothing like the One Piece world in any piece of fiction, I don't think. The world is fucking incredible. The character cast, super lovable. In One Piece there's so many hype moments, it really never lets you go, even though some arcs may be a little less good than the others, but it still never lets you go. The main issue in the One Piece anime is its pacing. The pacing is dog shit for the most part. I fully acknowledge that is a big issue, but who cares? It's One Piece. I don't care about the pacing. Okay, I do care about the pacing, but that doesn't take my enjoyment away. And the animation is pretty bad until it gets fucking amazing. I don't know what happened, but there is like everything before the Wano arc is kinda shit animation, kind of maybe. And then you get to the Wano arc and all of a sudden it's some of the best animation you've ever seen in your life. I don't know what the fuck happened there, but I'm glad it did. I think everybody needs to watch One Piece. You need to do it, or read it, or watch live action, or just consume it in some form. I think it's a must watch. Before we move on, I want to talk about the 4 movies that I've seen. I tried to watch them all in order, but the first 3 were so ass that I jumped straight into Film Red. And the first 3 movies are getting 1 star each. I didn't like them. Film Red is like 2.5 stars. It was kinda good. And the main show is 5 stars, of course it is. But yeah, enough about One Piece now. One Punch Man. If something on this list is fun, it's One Punch Man. One Punch Man has a very interesting concept that subverts the superhero genre, and it's a genre that has become pretty stale, but this is one of those shows that sparked some new life into it. The story of One Punch Man is not a masterpiece. It doesn't need to be. The characters are very fun in my opinion. I like them a lot, and the humor lands. It's just a fun watch. Animation is top tier in season 1. Season 2, the animation is worse definitely, but not by as much as people say it is. I think season 2 is still a really fun season, and if you like the first one, I don't really see why you wouldn't like the second one. So I think One Punch Man overall is a really solid show, and definitely worthy of 3 stars. Oshi No Ko. I didn't expect to like this. I really didn't. But I did. I liked it. The first episode of this show is basically movie length, and I thought it started out super weird. Like, so fucking weird that I was almost ready to drop it, but then I decided to watch it till the end. But thankfully the first episode gets really good at the end, and then after that it's not as weird anymore, and it's actually really good. And I just think it's really enjoyable to watch. The visuals are fucking beautiful, the writing is pretty good, there's some interesting mysteries in there, and overall something that I really haven't seen before. Some characters I don't like, of course, but I like most of them, I think. And I have to say season 2 is better than season 1, not by that much, but still I want to mention it. I think Oshi No Ko is just a pretty good show overall, and I think it's worthy of 3 stars. Peacemaker. I think Peacemaker is one of the best things I've seen from DC. I was positively surprised going into this show. I think John Cena, who plays Peacemaker, does a really good job. He's genuinely really funny, and the show as a whole is really funny. It actually made me laugh a lot, and this requires pretty much no prior knowledge of DC either, and I hadn't even seen the movie, which is like the prequel to this, so like, I don't know, I could fully follow it and enjoy it. I think Peacemaker is a really good show. I don't know what else there is to say. I hope season 2 comes sometime soon, hopefully, probably. I think Peacemaker for now is a solid 3 stars again. Percy Jackson and the Olympians. So I was a big fan of the books when I was a kid. There are some movies that have been made for this franchise before, and I've seen them. Don't remember much of them, but yeah. This show, I think, is still better than the movies a little bit, but the best way to experience the story is still the books, definitely. I am still cautiously optimistic for season 2, we'll see how that goes, but yeah. The reason I'm keeping this short is that I made a full review of this, so if you want to hear more, go check it out. I'm giving the show 1.5 stars. Perfect Blue. This is a really good movie once again, holy shit. Like, I knew this was highly rated, and yeah, I was not disappointed. I love it when shows and movies cover the entertainment industry, it's so interesting. I know Oshi No Ko also does it, but it's very different than the way Perfect Blue does it, because Perfect Blue is pretty much a horror movie kind of as well, and it's very, very good. It is very realistic, very sad, quite scary, even super tense. There's a lot of things going for it, and it's also very dark. But if you're fine with that, then this movie is absolutely a must-watch. One of the best anime movies I've seen, and definitely worthy of your time. This is getting 4.5 stars. Psycho-Pass. From this show, I've only seen the first 2 seasons. I don't know if I will see the 3rd season or the movies, because I kinda got a little tired of it by the end. But that doesn't mean that the show is bad, because it really isn't. There are some really interesting themes that are covered in Psycho-Pass, and I think the show has aged super well. The themes are still relevant today, actually probably even more so than they were when the show came out initially. It's very interesting. The show is also very confusing. That's probably what caused my fatigue. It's kinda difficult to follow at times, and I missed some things completely. Maybe that's just a skill issue, but like, I don't know. It was, yeah. The show also dragged quite a bit at one point, so, you know, that also lowered my enjoyment of it. But looking back, I do appreciate it for what it did, but I don't know if I want to continue it or ever rewatch it. But I still have to appreciate it, so I'm giving Psycho-Pass 2.5 stars. Solo Leveling. Yep, Solo Leveling once again. This is the 3rd time I've talked about the show on the channel, and it won't be the last because season 2 is coming out soon, so see you next year with that. Solo Leveling, yeah, I'm a gamer. It was cool to see the references. There's a lot of references because it's kind of a, how should I say this, kind of a video gamey inspired, maybe, I don't know. I think Solo Leveling has some really fun ideas and really good action scenes. The animation is really good, and it was just always enjoyable to watch as I was watching it week by week. The story is a bit lacking, unfortunately, as well as the character development, and the supporting characters don't really get the screen time they deserve, which is something that I hope improves in season 2 and going forward. Because there were some interesting characters in here that I would have liked to see more of, but basically 90% of the show is just the main character. Which, you know, it's not that bad because the main character is still fun to watch and he is still a good character. But like, I want to see more. There's more you can do, I think. But yeah, I don't know, there is not much to say here. I have made a video about Solo Leveling, like a dedicated review once again, so if you want to go check it out, feel free to. But yeah, I'm giving Solo Leveling 2.5 stars. Squid Game Season 2. After 3 whole years, Squid Game is finally back, and the expectations are high. Well, is Season 2 as good as the first season? Nope. But, okay, Season 1 was really good, so of course Season 2 can't live up to it, so is Season 2 a good season by itself? I would love to say yes. I would really love to say that it's good. But I can't. Season 2 is unfortunately not good in my opinion. Squid Game delivered a really fucking good and memorable first season at the cost of writing itself into a corner, and it unfortunately cannot get back on its feet again. The new character cast is nowhere near as good in season 2 as it was in the first season, and the few that are interesting don't get a whole lot to do apart from the few returning characters from season 1, they are mostly fine. But yeah, I feel like most of the new characters in season 2 were either unmemorable, underdeveloped, annoying, or all of the above. That's how I felt. There's a few characters that I think are fine, but I just wanted to see more of them. And the pacing in season 2 feels way too slow. I don't mind slow storytelling, but when it starts to feel like it's just padding it out for the sake of it, then it becomes a problem. Seriously, half of this season is just voting. They vote like 3 times, and like, why? It's always just 20 minutes of people walking down the aisle, pressing the button, a new number appearing on the screen, and then occasionally someone shouts out something like, "Oh, have you gone mad?" Like, why? Why? I get what it tried to accomplish, but it really didn't require this many times, and especially when it doesn't really result in much of anything. It's I don't know, man. It's not all bad. There are some things I enjoyed about it, but that's not enough to carry it, unfortunately. But this is just my take, obviously. I'm giving Squid Game Season 2 1.5 stars. Steins Gate. I heard a lot of great things about this show. This is one of the most highly rated anime shows out there. So, I had expectations going into it, and I am not disappointed. I am not disappointed in the slightest. Steins Gate is a masterpiece. I think this show has some really fun characters. The humor is really good, but it's something that will not work for everybody. The humor can be annoying for some people, but for me, I thought it was just fucking funny to watch. And the characters are so nice to follow, I can't emphasize that enough. But aside from the comedy, this show really knows when to be serious, and goddamn, it nails that as well. Steins Gate is really slow with its storytelling, which is why not everybody will like it, sadly. But if you care about good writing and are fine with some slow pacing, bro, this is absolutely worth a watch. Like, I'm making this clear, you need to watch this. This is, if Attack on Titan is my favorite anime, One Piece is my second favorite anime, Steins Gate is number 3. Really, it's so good. I also watched the prequel, Steins Gate Zero. I don't know if it's a sequel or a prequel, it's kind of both, really. But yeah, I also really enjoyed that. That was very, very good. And I think it's definitely something you need to watch if you like the original show. And yeah, there's also the movie. I think it was fine. It's not perfect, but it was a nice finisher for the universe. It was the last thing I watched, even after all of the OVAs and everything. I watched all of Steins Gate. Every bit of content there was, I watched. And man, it's just so good. The main show is getting 4.5 stars from me, and Steins Gate Zero is getting 4 stars, and the movie is 2.5 stars, but please watch Steins Gate. Stranger Things. This is a show that I have always wanted to get into, and a few years ago I tried to watch it, but I didn't really like it for some reason. Now I finally decided to return to it, and I really enjoyed it. I really don't know why I didn't like it initially, but I like it a lot now, when I watched it this year. And I think, yeah, the best thing about the show is the AD style. It nails that. It's very, very cool. I love the AD's aesthetic a lot, it's really cool. The plot is very good as well, albeit it can be a little cheesy at times, but that just fits, I think, especially like in the earlier seasons. I guess at some point it got a little too cheesy, but I don't really mind it that much. I have to say season 3 is definitely the worst one. I didn't really enjoy it that much, but that was like the only season I didn't really like. The other seasons I really, really enjoyed, especially season 1 and season 4. They're definitely the best ones. I think the CGI in Stranger Things is awesome. Like, it looks really, really good, especially in the later seasons. It looks extremely good, and I don't know how they pulled it off. I think the show's biggest problem is probably the bloated character cast. There's so many characters doing their own things, and it just, at some point it gets really messy, unfortunately. But like, that's something I can accept, because most of the characters are really good and I don't mind seeing them. I just wish they kinda maybe even killed off some of them, so there would be a bit less going on. But yeah, I thought it was a really nice experience to catch up to Stranger Things, and next year we're apparently getting season 5, so I can't wait for that. I think for now this show is worthy of 3.5 stars. The 8th Show. At first I thought this would be a Squid Game clone. Like, everything about it just screamed that, okay, this is a Squid Game clone. And then, especially the first episode, I was like, okay, I know where this is going. But actually, instead, it delivered something unique, which was surprising. The atmosphere is really good and unnerving, like really unnerving. And I know I can see the Squid Game influence, but it's not a clone. It adds its own thing on top of it, and I appreciate that. Some of the characters are pretty fun, not all of them though. There are some characters I really didn't like, but yeah, I enjoyed the show. I don't think there is really that much to say. It's not special, I don't remember it that much. I feel like it maybe missed a little spice to it. I was kind of expecting something more. But for now, I don't know. It's 2.5 stars for me. There is not much else to say there. The Boys Season 4. The Boys has been one of my favorite shows for a while. It's up there with the best ones. I always just love to tune into it. The show is always batshit crazy, and it has some really cool ideas. And Season 4 was something I was really excited for, of course. Unfortunately, I have to say that this is the weakest season thus far. It is not bad. I emphasize it is not bad. I still had fun with it, and it gets better towards the end. But I maybe expected a little more from this. But yeah, that's not to say it's bad, because it really isn't, not even close to that. Yeah, the first episodes aren't that impressive in my opinion, but it gets better. And I really enjoyed where it eventually concluded. I can't wait for Season 5, I'll say that. So I think Season 4 is fine, but it's definitely the weakest season. But I'm giving it still 3 stars. It wasn't bad, it was still enjoyable. The Promised Neverland. With this one I have to separate the 2 seasons when I'm talking about them. Let's start with the first one. I think the first season delivered a very interesting and cool idea, and the character writing was surprisingly good, and most things really made sense. It was just so enjoyable to follow, and I think I watched it in like 2 days. It's a very good piece of anime. Like, the atmosphere that there is, especially in Season 1, it is so unique, so interesting, so scary, tense, everything. It's really good, and I highly recommend the first season. However, as sad as it is, everything falls apart going into Season 2. Season 2 is shit, simply put. Season 2 skipped most of the stuff in the manga. It deleted characters and entire story arcs, and it didn't help that I actually went and read the manga before watching Season 2, because I knew it was gonna make some heavy changes to it. And I read the manga and then I watched Season 2. I'm like, where is everybody? Where is everything? Why is this not here and why is that not here? It's a mess. And it changes a lot of things, not for the best, absolutely not for the best. It just in general ruined something that I thought was really special. So if I were to give stars for like separate seasons, the first one would be 3.5 stars, second one would be 0, so we have to kind of even it out, so the entire show is getting 1.5 stars. It pains me to say that, but unfortunately, if the second half of the show sucks so much, it has to bring it down. Uncharted. I don't really know what there is to say about this one. It's just a very average action movie. Yeah, it's an adaptation of a video game series, a game series that I enjoy. And the movie is it's just okay. That's really all I have to say. I'm giving it 1.5 stars. Uzumaki. I was very excited for this one. I thought the art style looked very cool, and the story seemed to be extremely crazy, which it is. Unfortunately, the animation shits itself after the first episode, and the pacing is very questionable. And this is only 4 episodes, so it doesn't get to do a whole lot. It should have been longer. I don't know what the fuck happened behind the scenes, but this is a very good example of extremely good ideas and then just ruining them with the production. I haven't read the manga, probably should, because there were some things I really enjoyed about Uzumaki, but man, it could have been so much better. Even a non-manga reader like me can see it. Unfortunately, I have to give Uzumaki 1 star. Vinland Saga. So if you remember when I was talking about high-rise invasion, I sometimes just go on Netflix and pick a random anime from there. And this was a half-blind shot. Not actually. I heard a little bit about the show beforehand, but it was still kind of a blind shot. I didn't know that much, I just knew it was gonna be good. So I was like, okay, fine, I'm gonna watch this. And yeah, this is a really fucking good show. Like, wow. Vinland Saga is really, really good. It is historically surprisingly accurate, beautifully animated, masterfully written, and everything is just good. Everything just works. And it's a very deep show. It deals with very heavy topics, and how should I say this? There's themes like revenge and relationships and violence as a whole, war, and all of that is like covered in a very interesting way, and it's just a really good show. Like, wow, please give it a watch. Like, seriously, this is something that I feel like is a must watch, and I really hope we get to see a 3rd season one day. There hasn't been any word of that yet, but I can always hope. For now, Vinland Saga is getting 4 stars. Welcome to the NHK. Some people always talk about a show needing to be relatable. I don't usually care about that stuff. I'm here to experience stories, and these stories don't have to be something I relate to. But with this one, I actually felt like I kinda related to it, and I don't really want to admit that because it doesn't sound very good. And I'm not saying that the main character is like me or anything, but there are some similarities, and it's just, wow, that was a wake-up call, wasn't it? This show is very depressing, so also kinda funny at times, balances that pretty well. I don't know if this is a good show in itself, or did it just perfectly strike a chord with me? I don't really know. As much as I don't want that to be the case, of course. But this is I don't even know if I recommend it. I don't know if I even liked it. Like, I liked it, but then again, I don't know if I liked it. Like, I don't know. This is getting off the rails now. I don't really know, but my gut feeling is that this is a good show, and maybe something you should watch. I don't know. I'm giving it 4 stars. That's a lot, but I couldn't stop watching it. Whiplash. This is some really good drama. This type of exploration related to music I have never seen before, and it was extremely well put together, and I really enjoyed it. Very good acting performances all across the board, and you know, it's just overall a really good movie. I don't have much to add. I just really liked it. And I think, especially if you're into music, like playing instruments, I'm not, but you know, if you are, I think this will work even better for you. And even if you are not, this is still worth a watch. It's a really enjoyable movie, and very interesting one at that. I'm giving it solid 3.5 stars. Zom 100 Bucket List of the Dead. Our last entry of the day, and this is the anime, not the live action. I've seen the live action, but we're talking about the anime now. Yeah, it's funny. Kinda funny. There are some jokes that get super old real quick, but I think most of it was just fun to watch. The art style is great, the animation quality is really high, and yeah, back to the art style. It's very colorful, and I really enjoyed what they did with this one, because it looks so unique, and it's just cool. There are some gimmicks and jokes that were taken a bit too far, as I said, but I still enjoyed most of it, and it's just some fun time. I think some 100 gets 3 stars from me. And that's it. Wow, we made it to the end. There was a lot of entries here, a lot of things that I watched. If you watched all of this video, I don't know what's wrong with you. No, but seriously, I'm I'm thankful. Thank you for watching. Even if you didn't watch all of it, just watch the ones that you cared about. That's completely fine, and I appreciate that. Yeah, Happy New Year, everybody. This is the last video of the year, so you know, have a great New Year and great holidays and just a great end of the year time. I don't know what I'm supposed to say here. I don't have a script. But yeah, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.